There are machines that don't just take the checkered flag. They shape an entire era. In the fierce world of 500cc Grand Prix racing, the name Yamaha YZR500 is nothing less than an enduring legend. From the days when Kenny Roberts dared to challenge every limit, to the era when Wayne Rainey made the whole world stand in respect, and that moment when Valentino Rossi claimed the last victory ever for a V4 two-stroke, the YZR500 wrote an epic that stretched over more than 2 decades. This isn't just a story of speed and triumph. It's the journey of innovation, of courage, and of the moments that made history. And today, we'll step back into the pit lane, hear that unmistakable scream once again, and witness the entire path of one of the greatest race bikes ever built. To understand how it began, we have to roll the tape back to the late 1970s. Grand Prix 500 had just swung hard toward two-strokes. Lightweight, vicious, brutally fast. Factories either adapted or got left behind. Yamaha read the writing on the pit wall. Suzuki's RD500 was setting the pace, and Honda was preparing its own moonshot with the NR500. If Yamaha wanted to lead, they couldn't just tune a little harder. They had to rethink everything. Enter Kenny Roberts, an American with a dirt track soul and a road racing brain. He didn't ask politely. He demanded a weapon he could trust at full lean, stable on the brakes, predictable on the gas, a bike that wouldn't fight its rider when the front slid or the rear lit up. The message was simple: give me a machine I can control, and I'll do the rest. Behind closed doors, engineers began sketching a new answer. Not a quick fix. A purpose-built race tool. Compact, concentrated, made to carve. The project took shape under a single, ruthless goal. Build the Yamaha that could take the fight to anyone and take the crown back. That blueprint would soon earn a name: YZR500. They didn't start with a paint job. They started with a blueprint. If the bike was going to win, it had to be right under the skin. So Yamaha laid out a compact V4 two-stroke, cylinder set at an angle to tuck the mass low. Quick to change direction. The idea was simple: make the engine disappear beneath the rider, let the rider do the talking. Inside, 2 crankshafts worked in concert. Twin cranks geared together to smooth the buzz and tame the pulses. Think 2 strong hands on a rope, less shake, more drive, better grip off the corner. Roll on. The push felt steadier, easier to meter when the rear began to squirm. The monoshock did the heavy lifting, keeping the tire planted over curbing and holding the line when the bike snapped left-right at full lean. Up front, a tubular steel frame tied it together. Stiff where it needed to be, light where it could be, lively as the braking markers rushed up. Power is one thing, control is another. From 1973 to 1980, Yamaha set out to fuse the two, build a machine that hit like a hammer, but steered like a scalpel. Then came the run that turned promise into a dynasty. 1978, 1979, 1980, Kenny Roberts climbed aboard and did what great riders do, bent the sport to his will. 3 straight world titles, the number 1. 1 plate welded to the fairing like it was born there. Starts razor clean. Braking zones shrank. Exits snapped like slingshots. With every lap, the YZR500 grew sharper, steadier, meaner. Yamaha wasn't just racing anymore. They were setting the rhythm, and everyone else had to dance. Power alone didn't haul in those crowns. Engineers added a weapon: the Yamaha power valve system. A gatekeeper in the exhaust, opening and closing by engine speed. It fattened the mid-range and cured the all-or-nothing 2-stroke lurch. Roll on at the apex. The motor woke up, then ripped to red line with a top-end shriek that put grandstands on their feet. Season by season, the numbers climbed. Not just peak horsepower, but real-world punch in the last laps. From the bleachers, you could see the swagger. Black and yellow blocks flashing like warning signs. The bumblebee livery that told you who owned the day. Roberts tucked in behind the screen, elbows out, dirt track instincts steering road race precision. The YZR answered every demand. Stable under the hammer, poised when the front tucked, predictable when the rear went light. 3 years, 3 championships. The bar moved, and in Grand Prix racing, the clock never stops. Rivals were already sketching their replies. The sport moved on, and Yamaha moved with it. Kenny handed the torch to Eddie Lawson, cool, precise, a surgeon with a throttle hand, and the scoreboard barely skipped a beat. 1,984, 1,986, 1,988. 3 world titles in 5 seasons, won by margins. Clean starts, clean laps. If Roberts bent the sport to his will, Lawson refined it, lap after lap. Under him, the YZR500 didn't just evolve, it transformed. Out went the old steel lattice. In came the Deltabox, aluminum tying the steering head to the swing arm pivot with straight, rigid beams. Lighter, stiffer. At 160 miles per hour, that meant fewer wobbles, more trust. The bike held a line like it was drawn with a ruler. Braking markers crept deeper. Exits came earlier. The heart beat harder, too. Yamaha kept the V4 two-stroke, but breathed on everything. Ports, ignition, power valve timing, until it made over 150 horsepower, a thunderclap for the mid-80s. More than peak, it was the delivery. Fuller mid-range, a clean rush to redline, the kind that lets you pass on the straight without unsettling the chassis. Even the bodywork went to school. Slimmer fairings, tighter shoulders, a tail that sliced air instead of dragging it along. Less aero drag meant free speed, no extra risk. From the stands you saw it, settled, planted, slicing clean air while others twitched in the wake. And in 1984, Yamaha did the unthinkable. They bottled the feeling. The RD500LC-RZ500 to some, arrived with lights and a license plate. Grand Prix Thunder, translated for Main Street. The legend grew. The 90s didn't open with a parade. They opened with a fistfight. Across the pit lane, Honda's NSR500 and a quiet Australian named Mick Doohan tilted the class on its axis. The Honda came like a freight train, rigid, relentless, carrying corner speed that looked impossible from the stands. Lap by lap, pressure on Yamaha climbed. And yet, Yamaha didn't blink. Wayne Rainey walked to the line with steel in his eyes. 1990, 1991, 1992, 3 straight world titles. No theatrics, just execution. He braked deeper without drama, squared off exits without lighting the rear, and let the YZR500 do the quiet work. Clean laps under a rider who almost never made a mistake. Those championships weren't souvenirs. They proved Yamaha's V4 two-stroke still had answers to the hardest questions. But motorsport has ceilings. Mid-decade, the class found its own. The YZR's V4 two-stroke was already singing the high notes. Ports perfected, ignition sharpened, power valve timing mapped like a watchmaker's dial. The payoff was staggering thrust and a thinner margin for error. More peak, more heat, more load on every bearing and bolt. Meanwhile, Doohan's NSR500 began to rule the calendar, turning title hunts into uphill climbs. When the visor dropped, tiny differences, chassis flex here, tire edge there, became the whole ball game. Outside the paddock, the world was shifting too. Safety expectations rose. Emissions rules tightened. Factories poured R&D into cleaner, more market-ready four-strokes, and racing followed the money and the future. In 2002, the Premier class opened its doors to 990 cubic centimeter four-strokes. Two-strokes could stay, but the lap charts told the truth. The handwriting was on the wall. For Yamaha, the YZR500 had fought the long fight with honor. The next round would demand a new answer and a new kind of heartbeat. The end did not arrive with fanfare. It came with a rule book. In 2002, the premier class opened its doors to 990 cubic centimeter four-strokes, and the two-stroke age began to fade from the timing sheets. The year before, Valentino Rossi sealed the final crown of the 500 era, a last salute to the kind of power band only a Grand Prix two-stroke could deliver. For Yamaha, the YZR500 stood its ground to the very end, a V4 warrior that had fought through booms, busts, and everything in between. What followed was not a funeral, but a handoff. Factories pivoted to cleaner, broader-shouldered four-strokes. Testing schedules changed. Riding styles evolved. Yet the memory refused to dim. That V4 shriek, the snap to the apex, the way the bike seemed to carve its line in the air. You can still feel it if you close your eyes. Today, the YZR500 lives where legends belong. In museums, in private garages, in photographs with corners dog-eared from being shown one time too many. It lives in the stories told on pit walls and in the grandstands, when someone hears an old onboard clip and smiles. Call it the last great Yamaha two-stroke V4 of Grand Prix racing, or simply call it what it is. A marker in time. A machine that said what needed saying at full song before the future took the green flag. Close your eyes and the reel plays itself. Kenny Roberts backing it in, bars loose, rear tire skating just enough to make the crowd gasp. Eddie Lawson carving lines like a draftsman, smooth wrists, no wasted motion. Wayne Rainey, quiet intensity, placing the bike on a dime. Over it all, that V4 two-stroke scream at the top of the revs, sharp, pure, unforgettable. Black and yellow blocks flashing past like hazard tape. Red and white livery cutting clean air. Victory laps and champagne spray. And the hard silences after the worst afternoons. Scuffed leathers, hot brakes, tire smoke at dusk. Add it up, and you have the YZR500. Speed, courage, and memory fused into legend. Yamaha YZR500 has closed an era the racing world will never see again. No more the howl of a V4 two-stroke at Redline. No more the bursts of acceleration that made the grandstands erupt. But for those who witnessed it, or even heard that sound just once, the YZR500 lives on. Not just as a motorcycle, but as a part of history. How about you? Have you ever seen it, heard it, or have a memory tied to the YZR500? Share your story in the comments below. If you love this legend, don't forget to hit like to support the channel. And remember to subscribe so you won't miss the journeys to come, where we continue to bring back to life the machines that once shook the world of speed.